Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Loghain, and bid you all welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. Last episode, we managed to free Honora from the clutches of Loghain and defeat the very formidable Sir Cauthrian. For those who missed the subtitle in the last episode, even though I went through the Fort Dracon escape phase, utilizing the incomparable wits of Morrigan and Sten, I chose to reload the save game from when I defeated Sir Cauthrian just so I could preserve the summer sword that we retrieved from her, which is a significant sword. It does not have the damage just off the bat of some of the swords that Sten and Ogren, my two two-handed mastery fellows, have, but it is still significant enough that I think could be worthwhile. The only reward for going through the Fort Dracon stuff is that the two companions you choose to break you out get the additional 7 approval, which we can obtain by other means, but the sword otherwise can never be acquired because we never encounter Sir Cauthrian again, as far as I know. But before we press on with any other business today, I forgot that Warden shows up here in fucking this guy, Arl Eamon's room.
I'm glad you made it safely away. I hear Howe's death has already brought no small amount of cheer to the city.
Could you tell me about the vault again?
It's located just off the Market District in the northern alley past the Old Noble Tavern. I'll sketch out the code which will let you pass the lock wheel. Inside you can take your pick of whatever equipment remains. It is the stockpile the Wardens have kept for centuries for the defense of Denerim.
So this ironically turns out to be the same warehouse that Arl Howe had taken over, but obviously he did not discover the true treasures within. Did you know Duncan very well?
We went through our joining together, more years ago than I like to remember. He was exactly the same back then, tough as stone and just as grizzled. I think he understood sooner than the rest of us how ugly a choice it is to let the few be sacrificed to protect the many. Always left himself a soft spot for his recruits, though. Only way he ever let himself down.
I was hoping I could learn a bit more about the Grey Wardens.
Well, I'd be happy to tell you what I know, but it seems to me that you've picked the important parts up yourself. Be firm in your beliefs, protect people from their own ignorance, and be as loyal as you can to your brothers, even knowing you'll share their deaths.
How many Wardens are there?
It's tough to say. Only the fortress in Weishaupt has every record. But there are certainly a few dozen or hundreds in every nation in Thedas. The Anderfells are home to over 1,000. It's almost like the Archdemon chose Ferelden deliberately, knowing how unguarded it is.
Have you ever been to the fortress in Weishaupt?
Once only, and I'd rather not go again. It's far, lass, and very foreign. The Wardens there, they fight Darkspawn like you and me, but they're shaped by the winters there in the forest. They're a cold group and don't care like they should about the rest of the world. Their king is weak, and many Anders look to the Wardens to rule. I hate to say this, but some of them seem to want it that way.
How were the Wardens founded?
It was near 1,200 years ago, and no one knows for sure, except that it began with a group of Anders soldiers. Apparently, they defected from their king's army, vowing that fighting the Blight was more important, and traveled all the way to Tevinter themselves. They were the first ones to track down the Archdemon Dumat, and the ones to slay him, though none survived the battle. But they had picked up followers by then, and it was they who formally founded the Order, and were recognized by Thedas.
Why has it been so long since the last Blight?
Archdemons don't awaken on their own, you know. It takes the Darkspawn, tunneling and tunneling, searching for centuries to find one. And with no one to lead them, it must be sheer chance, or maybe instinct. which leads them. What's surprising isn't that it takes so long between blights. What's surprising is that they succeed at all. But I imagine the old gods call to them. And it's that voice in the darkness which drives them through so many generations.
It's interesting. I wonder what the perspective through that bird cage was really supposed to represent. But that is a,
The important thing to remember is, none of that matters. When you're facing Darkspawn, all you need to know is to stop them at all costs.
Fair enough. It is an interesting perspective he gives on Darkspawn sort of hive mind mentality that they got going on. If they're not responding to the direct whims of an archdemon, they're actively looking for one to replace it. So, yeah, there's something particular about the archdemons that I don't know if it ever gets elaborated on in future installments of this franchise. It might even be described in Awakening, but I dislike that DLC so much that I don't really remember what kind of plot we get out of it. All I remember is there being something about an architect and a particular brood mother who seems to be more significant than the others. Perhaps the two of them eventually elaborate on how Darkspawn really act without the guiding hand of an archdemon. But that's something we will learn when we get to that. For now, I suggest we move on. Let us, we'll take Alistair.
Indeed. Yes.
And then the usual Magi. And go take a look, try and seek out this Grey Warden vault. I'm sure it has some treasures that will be helpful to us. Slim Shady has not shown up yet, so we cannot get any additional quests from him. But we have quests to turn in for the Chanter's Board.
Blessed are the peacekeepers, champions of the just.
I think Sir Rexel, or whoever that nutjob was in the Arl of Denerim dungeons, was a Chanter-related quest. But other than the Chantry, we have to speak with a few nobles, a few Arls or bands who have shown up for the Lands Meet. Such as you. As soon as I can click on you. You have a very narrow profile for clicking upon.
Whoever you are, Wait. I know you.
I don't know you.
My son described you in great detail. He tells me that I owe you his life.
I would leave no man to suffer at Earl Howe's hands.
When I saw my poor boy's legs, I only wish Howe still lived that I might tear him apart myself.
Oh, believe me, I left him in many a ribbon.
But Oswin tells me Thomas had no part in his father's depravity. Is there anything you would ask as a reward for saving Oswin?
All I want is for you to speak out against Loghain.
Thank you again. Know that I will stand behind you at the Lands Meet with all the support I can muster. In fact, I am taking my supper today with Ban Reginalda of the White River Banorn. I'll speak with her about this at once.
Sweet. Okay, so that's 2 additional voices against Loghain himself.
How fares your brother?
Why don't we
I'd hoped to see him when I
eavesdrop
was in
on
town.
this
He
conversation?
made himself scarce. Every time I've called at the Chantry, he's been away. He answers none of my letters.
That doesn't sound like Ermenric. I'm sure he's merely busy.
Perhaps. I'll call at the rectory again tomorrow.
The fuck is a rectory? How about I speak with you and enlighten you
May I
instead?
help you?
I was asked to give this to you.
This is Ermenric's.
It is indeed.
Explain yourself. My brother would no more part with this ring than with his head.
He needs your help.
He's alive then? Please, if you have any news of my brother, I would hear it.
He's in the dungeon of the Arl of Denerim's estate.
A dungeon? What? No.
Yes.
I will go to him at once. Someone will answer for this. Take this with my thanks. It has been in my family since the War of Crowns, crafted for us by the Circle of Magi. An heirloom is a small thing compared to my brother's life.
Alright, well, you don't seem to be in an awful hurry to rescue him. I don't know what you gave me. One of the most egregious flaws of this game is the fact that it does not tell you what you acquire as a quest reward when you just open up your inventory. So the only way to try and tell is to scroll through things. It must have been one of those rather generic weapons or armor pieces, since none of this really stands out. So your family heritage clearly leaves a lot to be desired, because none of it was that distinctive. No matter. We shall turn the corner, head back into this warehouse where we dealt with Arl Howe's thugs. And apparently he overlooked a secret chamber behind this solitary bookcase, wherein lies the entire armory, it seems, of the Grey Wardens, including Duncan's shield, which you'll notice, when we pick up, defaults to a gift. Should be obvious who this gift must be delivered to, so let's deliver it.
This shield, it's Duncan's, isn't it? That's his crest.
I thought maybe you might want it.
Thank you. Truly, I had no idea his shield wasn't with him.
Well, you didn't use it in the fucking battle, that was for sure.
Express my gratitude. This means a great deal to me. I can't believe you remembered it at all.
Of course I remembered.
I'll treasure this. Thank you.
Well, enjoy that. So that's a huge approval boost for him. But in order to get his maximum, I had said before, I think I said 70 or 75 was like the max approval for the sort of plot-based bonuses. That's not true. That's for the third tier. To get his maximum approval, we need to get him to 90%. So he does not need to be at 100%, but we are too shy, so we'll just give him some random ass junk. Bam. Massive constitution. That's all we need. But I think we are also at the point where we can talk to all of these people and get some extra dialogues out of them.
I'm wondering something. I'd like to know your thoughts about some of our traveling companions. Do you mind if I ask?
Time for the juicy gossip, I take it.
I've got this nefarious plan to go around to each of them and secretly tell them all the nasty things you said. That way they'll mutiny and I shall become the group leader.
Why was that accent necessary, I wonder? I wouldn't trust you to lead us to lunch.
Hey, that's a pretty good policy. Where exactly is lunch anyway? Seriously though, I'm only curious. I've had enough time to form my own opinions, and I just want to see if yours are any different.
Who do you want to ask me about?
How about Ogren? You must have an opinion on the smell, at the very least.
Really, that's the first person you wondered about. He's a bit much, isn't he?
Well, let's just say that I'm not so surprised he's not married any longer. How he lifts his sword is a bit of a mystery. Though I suppose the point is that he does lift it. And so long as we can point him in the right direction, he charges too. He has gusto, I'll give him that. Zevran, the elf. You can't trust him, can you? Do you believe his so-called vow?
Maybe, we'll see.
That's a lot to put on a maybe, isn't it? He's an assassin. The crows aren't known for giving up. Maybe he's just biding his time.
If he tries anything, then he'll die.
Well, at least you're considering the possibility. He just seems shifty to me. What about Sten? The way he looks at me with those eyes. Creepy. And he's so quiet for someone so big.
He's dedicated, I'll give him that.
Yet he doesn't seem quite so bad as the Chantry tells us. According to them, his philosophy is vile and evil. Yet he seems so reasonable. And yet, he killed all those people. He doesn't even deny it. Doesn't that bother you?
He seems to regret what he did.
I'm not so sure that his regret means the same as it would for us. The Kunari sense of honor is a bit hard to grasp. For me, anyway. What about Liliana? Is she crazy? Or do you really believe in her vision?
I believe that she believes in her vision.
That's one way to put it. I noticed that you and her have become close. Am I right? The rest of us have talked about it.
You talk about us?
You think we have better things to do than gossip about you? You give us far too much credit. Is it true or not?
No, you're mistaken.
Oh, liar. Suit yourself. I don't know what to make of her. If you look at her when she doesn't see you, she just looks so sad. I almost feel guilty taking her away from her life.
It was her choice.
Yes, I know. Still, I feel badly for her. Morrigan, do you trust her? Think about it. Maybe Flemeth sent her with us for some other reason than she said.
You're probably right.
And you're just going to let her follow us around? A Maleficar and Maker knows what else?
I don't have to like her. She's useful.
That's the most sensible thing I've heard out of you yet. Just remember that she's dangerous too, and evil, and mean. Enough. I think my curiosity is sated. Let's get back to it, shall we?
Let's do that. Okay, so we got one approval out of him for all that trouble. I guess we could have spared him the onyx ring or whatever the fuck we gave him in exchange for that.
You're quite taken with each other, aren't you?
So the funny thing about this is that because we kind of developed a romance with Alistair and Leliana at the same time, we can choose which one Wynne happens to be talking about in this particular occasion. Or we can just be neutral and let her pick whichever one she chooses. I don't see how this concerns you.
I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. Alistair is a fine lad, skilled in battle.
Oh,
but
that's who you mean.
Experienced when it comes to affairs of the heart. I would hate to see him get hurt.
Are you saying it might hurt Alistair?
Not intentionally, no. But there is great potential for tragedy here, for one or both of you. You are both Grey Wardens, and he is the son of a king. You have responsibilities which supersede your personal desires.
Alistair doesn't want to be king.
That may be true, but he is still a Grey Warden. Love is ultimately selfish. It demands that one be devoted to a single person who may fully occupy one's mind and heart to the exclusion of all else. A Grey Warden cannot afford to be selfish. You may be forced to make a choice between saving your love and saving everyone else. And then what would you do?
You're making things sound more dire than they are.
Nothing is certain. Not in these times. You cannot take anything for granted. I want you to be aware of this.
Are you trying to get me to end this?
You may have to save one or both of you unnecessary anguish later on.
I'm not giving up what we have no matter what you say.
I have given my advice. Do with it what you will.
So her approval does not change at all. It is interesting that Wynne, who at times seems a very practical mind, but at other times seems a very idealistic mind, takes such a pragmatic approach to the romance between, basically whatever romance you choose to develop between your characters here. There's obviously quite a few paths you can take with that, if you, are so inclined to one or the other. Basically, I think any given gender can pretty much choose between two possible romances. Alistair is always straight, and Morgan is always straight. Liliana and Zevran are both bisexual, so there are quite a few. There are really just two possibilities between any of those, and Wynn, for some reason, chooses to be the sort of naysayer for any single one you might choose. But in this particular occasion, she seems to object to our potential romance with Alistair the most. But, well, we are masters of our own fate. We can choose what we will and who we will.
'Tis a curious thing. I do not know how else to describe it.
What, is something wrong?
No, nothing is wrong. It is a little embarrassing to admit, in fact. I am reminded of our first meeting in the wilds. I had been in animal form for some time, watching your progress. I was intrigued to see such a formidable woman, obviously more potent than the men she traveled with. Yet I resented it when Flemeth assigned me to travel with you. I assumed that, at best, you would drive me from your company as soon as we left the wilds.
Why would I do that?
I am aware that I have little talent for forming friendships, to put it lightly. 'Tis something I know nothing of, nor ever thought I needed. Yet when I discovered Flemeth's plans, you did not abandon me. Whatever your reasons, you fought what must have been a terrible battle without hope of real reward.
I did it because I'm your friend.
And that is what I do not understand. Of all the things I could have imagined would have resulted when Flemeth told me to go with you, the very last would have been that I would find in you a friend, perhaps even a sister. I want you to know that while I may not always prove worthy of your friendship, I will always value it. But enough of such idle talk. There are more useful things to be done, surely.
That is probably the most human we will ever see Morgan behave in the course of this game. Now, obviously, I've not played any of the sequels. I've not played the Witch Hunt DLC, which I believe involves Morgan as well. All the rest of the stuff is junk, so we'll just sell it as soon as we leave this place. But yeah, I do appreciate... Oh, this is different. Okay, so these are some interesting weapons. I don't think anyone can really put much use in them. Morgan, probably one of the more complex characters, simply based on the fact that she grew up without a lot of social interaction, and just by being exposed to so much in the world, she has sort of a pragmatic mentality, but you can soften her quite a bit. It's kind of the opposite of Alistair. Alistair being somewhat of a humanist, you can instead harden him and make him more selfish, which makes him a bit more dependable, and as we said before, frankly, a lot more easy to manipulate in a strange twist of fate. Morgan, meanwhile, continues to be the pragmatist, but you can soften her and actually get her approval even higher by sort of appealing to her nascent human nature in a certain way. It is very interesting. Very peculiar. But not a big concern right now, because we have to move on to the Alienage, which has finally opened up to us. Believe it or not. This gate is now open. This guy does not stop us.
The worst of it's cleaned up now. Just watch yourself if you're going in. The Alienage is a festering sore full of parasites. And that's on a good day.
Very unusual that now he suddenly lets us in. Considering apparently there's a plague going on. As we will soon learn, there's something of a quarantine, which you would think would be a cause for lockdown more so than just some rebellious non-humans rioting. But, I don't know. We'll press on shortly. So, the Alienage is where we can finally take care of some of the side quests that we've had, as far as the Mages Collective, the Blackstone Irregulars, and a few other things. So, finally, we'll be able to wrap up a few threads that we've been sitting on for quite some time. So let's move on. You first.
We are grateful. The compact is renewed.
You waited a very long time for that. So, I'm glad you were so patient.
What do you need?
I have a letter for you from the Blackstone Irregulars.
I suppose a noble death fighting the blighted wretches is better than basking in this squalor. They'd better be paying well.
Oh, I assure you they're not.
We're not going to be
Stay out of
mobbed,
our
right?
alienage,
That's not
Shem.
something elves do here.
Too good to listen to
Mob
elves?
people.
What do you want? Money?
You think so little of my kind.
You can buy us? You think we're so far beneath you, we'll just take whatever you give us?
I think we better explain things to him.
Oi, back off!
Coming.
Scumbags, what do you think you are? Are you alright?
Just stay away from me. I'm leaving, alright?
So the interesting thing is if you, well, what I just learned right now, to be frank, is that if you interrupt them before they start throwing punches, the dialogue works out a little bit differently there. But no matter. Let's step inside here. I apologize for barking a little too loud. I think I caused some clipping on the audio track there. Saurus! So I was actually asked by a viewer on 2 episodes ago when we were digging through the Arl of Denerim's dungeons why I failed to, or just someone pointing out that I failed to find Saurus and Vaughn in the dungeons. And I just want to remind people that if you choose the City Elf origin, the people you find in the dungeons of the Arl of Denerim's estate will change depending on how you choose to behave in the City Elf origin. Actually, I don't know what the City Elf male origin would be. I just realized how different that would be. I don't know if it would be that much different, but at the end of the day, I just want to remind everybody that we killed Vaughn, who was the son of the Arl of Denerim. I don't even know who the Arl of Denerim was, because he is long gone, and Arl Howe had taken his place. Now, so we deposed of him, so there is no more Arl of Denerim. But regardless, I think if we had somehow turned in Vaughn, he would have ended up in the dungeons. Otherwise, if we had gone the selfish route and turned in Saurus, he would have ended up there instead. But we did neither of those things, so Vaughn is 6 feet under, and Saurus is happily back in the Alienage, where he is a subjugated minority.
Cousin? Welcome home. Come in, come in. We assumed you were with the other wardens at Ostagar. Things, have been difficult since you've been gone.
I can imagine. What happened here?
Arl Howe led a purge. Vengeance for Vaughn's death, they say.
How many died?
I don't know. After the purge came some sort of pestilence. It's hard to say who was killed by soldiers and who felt a disease.
I would say the ones with stab wounds were probably felled by soldiers. Where's my father?
The healers took him into quarantine a few days ago. I'm sorry, cousin.
Where's Valora?
She went to the hospice a week ago. They said she had the plague. I didn't believe it. I mean, she was fine. But they took her to quarantine. I haven't seen her since.
Whenever you want people to panic and do exactly what you tell them, just tell them there's a plague. Where's this quarantine?
A house on the north side of the square. You can't miss it, cousin. There's a huge crowd there now.
I have to go.
All right. It's good to see you again, cousin.
Likewise, my friend. Ain't much to be found at home anymore. Glad we left this squalor behind. So there's a lot to do here, but I'm actually going to save some of these side interactions for when we take on these quests full bore. Because doing the main quest here is probably going to take up the bulk or the rest of this episode, so we're just going to focus on that.
If you're really so worried about this... I've got children at home. I can't wait out here for another day.
So go home. The best thing you can do for your children is not trust these charlatans.
You look familiar.
Everyone remain calm. We will help as many as we can today, so long as we can do this in an orderly fashion.
Oh, you're helping us, are you, Shem? Like Valendrian and my Uncle Syrian, you helped them, didn't you? Helped them never to be seen again.
We've explained this to you before, girl. More whining will not persuade us to let you into the quarantine to carry plague back out to the alienage.
Quit trying to get us all killed, Shiani. Some of us have still got things to live for.
If this spell of theirs works, why are half the people they quarantine perfectly healthy?
Shiani, is that really you?
I don't believe it. Maker's breath. They said all the Grey Wardens died with the king. Everyone thought... Valendrian even held a funeral for you. Cousin, you have no idea the things that happened after your wedding. I'm babbling, aren't I? I'm so happy to see you.
Wedding? You're married?
I was betrothed. It didn't end well.
Still, you never told me you were betrothed. What happened?
He died.
I'm sorry.
We can talk about this some other time.
So much has happened. It's good you're home.
What's going on here?
These people say they're here to help us. Funny thing, the people they help all disappear.
That's not true, and you know it, Shiani. Both my sisters got protections from the plague, and they're fine.
What about your niece, though? And my Uncle Syrian and Valendrian? Where are they?
Wait, what's this about my father?
The Tevinters quarantined your father yesterday. I told him not to go to the hospice. Not one elf they've taken in there has come out again. Who knows what's become of them?
How long has this quarantine been going on?
Since the army fell at Ostagar. People came here fleeing the Darkspawn, bringing blight sickness with them. After the refugees arrived, people here got sick. And these Tevinter vultures began circling, taking people out of the alienage a few at a time.
But why would they do that? What good are our sick elves?
That's just it, cousin. Many of the people they take away aren't sick, not even an occasional sniffle.
Alright, I'm gonna have a look inside the hospice.
I knew you'd do something, cousin. Make her watch over you.
You didn't even know I was back yet, woman. Alright, well, before we move on, why don't we take a look at this? We got a mystical site of power. Boom. Caused a lot of smoke. That's just to wrap up the end of this Mage's Collective quest. So all we gotta do is go back to their sec in the Market District. The only other thing we got here is this is a landmark tree, so we can have the dog piss on it, and he gets a buff in this area. Also, we can take Andraste's Grace, which I think is the third time we found that flower, which is a gift we can give to Leliana with diminishing rewards because she doesn't really respond to it the same way the third time. Anyway, let's speak to these healers here.
There is no need to push. We will work our spell for each person in... Hyserians, mercy! How long have you been ill, woman? You should have come here days ago.
What are you talking about? I'm not ill.
You may not yet feel it, but anyone can tell by looking that you have been infected.
All blight diseases carry some of the taint, and in you, it is as obvious as blood in a bowl of water.
Actually, I do feel a little strange.
The time has passed for magic. We must get you into quarantine.
Fine, I'll go with you.
The rest of you must stay back. Only the sick are permitted inside.
No, if they can't go with me, I'm not going in.
Guards, help me subdue her.
Wow, this escalated. So, yeah, this is what happens. These mages and these guards basically trying to persuade elves that they are sick and get them pulled in there. For reasons we will find out. But if we refuse to go quietly, we end up in some violent shenanigans. Everyone quit the field so quickly I didn't even see them leave. But as far as that, I don't know how many options we get if we are not the city elf origin. But I imagine that it's just simply fewer options available. You can choose to go in alone, at which point you pretty much have to do all the fighting yourself. And that is not worth it in my opinion. So instead we will blast some fools.
Watch him, man. Maker's name is this. Stop her!
Glad I got that out in time.
Show me what you got.
Wow, somebody exploded. The fuck is going on here?
Victory shall be mine.
Morgan's down, that's brilliant. Why are there elves fighting? We're friends here, aren't we?
Only one shall stand.
Oh, at least we got our way in. Oh, wow. Alright, well, that's a bit tragic. Here's a few of the sick or possibly neurotic elves decide to take part in that fight when they are not called upon. Hey, you just keep walking. Oh, Shiani's made her way back.
Well, that's one way of getting through the front door. Are you going to go inside? I hope they don't hurt anyone because of this.
I'm going to get to the bottom of this.
Thank the Maker. Please, hurry.
I will absolutely hurry. But first, why don't we go in here?
Well, well, look who's here. Welcome home. When we heard what happened at Ostagar, we assumed the worst. Have you been to
you and your
Shiani's source
assumptions.
yet? And would it kill you to let us know you're alive once in a while? What, is a Grey Warden too important to visit family?
No, but a Grey Warden cannot shove her way through a fucking portcullis, alright? I couldn't get in here. Alright, chill the fuck out. Are you still in business?
I might have a few things for sale. Off the record, of course.
Boy, you cannot possibly be running a very effective business then. Alright, so we got a lot of crap. Let's sell the crap. Alrighty. Something I missed. So we'll give it to Morgan. The Tome of Arcane Technique. Behold. So why don't we put that to use? Alright, well, let's see what they've got going on inside this hospice. They got some angry bitches.
Right.
Maker!
You had it coming!
So I don't know what it is that we got that suddenly starts knocking these fools over like nobody's business, but whatever it is, I'm glad we have it. Okay, we got a lot of junk. What is this?
As you wished.
The key with this note. Bring 8 something something something.
On it.
And some gold. Well, we found some kind of note.
Help us, please! We're not sick! Let us out of here!
How do I know you don't have the plague?
I swear not one of us is sick. They take the sick ones out as soon as they come in. Please, help us!
Well, why don't they take the healthy ones out and leave the sick ones in quarantine? Alright, well, I'm getting you out of there.
Thank you. I knew the things they said about you weren't true.
What did they say about me?
It doesn't matter. It's obviously not true. I mean, you're here now, right? Helping your people. We're getting out of here. Andraste watch over you.
Thanks for answering the rest of my questions. Although I would very much like to know what they were saying about me, and who was saying what about me.
Right. As you wish.
A suspicious thing indeed.
What happened? Some of the elves ran out, but I didn't recognize any of them. Where are all the others?
They were the only ones inside.
How is that possible? They've taken dozens of us into quarantine. Where else could they be? It makes no sense.
I found this note.
Let me see that. What does this even mean? They can't be shipping people, can they? Shipping them where?
Shipping them out to Boston. Have you seen them bring anything out of the hospice?
No. People go in, but they don't come out. They aren't shipping anything out of there that we've seen. They could be moving through the back alleys. There are all sorts of buildings back there. They could be using one as some sort of warehouse, staging area.
Makes sense. I'll take a look. Or there was a key with a note.
There are apartments off the alleys. I would go to the back of the hospice and maybe follow the alley from there. If you find any more information, please let me know. I refuse to accept that they're all simply gone.
Oh, they go. Not all of them, but many of them are gone. But that's fine. We'll go take a look. After I pet the cat. Alright, let's go take a look. Knock, knock.
Is Mother Bohan here yet? What's taking her so long?
Okay, you're not helpful. Somebody rooting through bones and rags here.
Who's there? Stay away!
I'm here, and I shall not. Calm down, I just want to ask some questions.
I can't say nothing. Please, just go. I don't want trouble.
I'm not gonna ask twice.
I don't know, I swear. I only saw them take people away. Took them right out of their beds. Dragged them down the hallways. Maker, the little one's crying.
Where do they take everyone?
Through the landlord's old office. They go in there, they never come back.
Have you seen my father, Syrian? He's an older man.
They took him through here yesterday. Looked like a dead man.
What else have you seen?
Every few days, they come back. It's like a parade, a silent one. Men and women and children. You have to go. They'll be back soon. They'll find out I talked and they'll take me too. Please, just go.
I'm going. Sounds like they are doing some dreadful things here, and judging by those red dots on our minimap, I think we are about to expose something horrible here. Well, what do we got? Oh, look at that. And one whole shiny copper. We got the sextant for... I don't really remember what that was for. Somebody in the House of Earthly Delights in Denerim sort of back alleys. Dried blood and bits of hair clinging to the broken edges of this vase.
Right.
Prints from boots across the dried blood. Alright, well, horrible things happened here. Why don't we expose them?
A nosy one, aren't you?
Nosy?
We'll figure that.
This should be how we get out of here.
This should be easy enough.
Let's make this quick, shall we? You had it coming!
Yeah, eat it. Dispatch them with great dispatch.
Let's get started.
Okay, let's just double check. I think Morgan has... Yeah. Morgan has an injury. So, why is my double click so ineffective today? That's not who I wanted to take it, god damn it. Still wasn't who I wanted to take it. So that was a lot of waste. Nevertheless, we press on.
This should be easy enough.
Should it?
As you wish.
What's this? Another shipment already? We weren't... Wait. You're no Tevinter. Who are you supposed to be?
I'm the Grey Warden Ilarian.
Oh no! I've heard of you! Attack!
Alright, well... Not a warm reception, but probably to be expected. Why don't you... I'll do that. And of course, they did that. Oh my fucking god, they just keep doing it. Alistair's already down, that is insane.
This should be easy enough. On it.
So this puts us in a part of the alienage... Excuse me, in a part of the alienage we cannot really access any other way besides this particular quest. So let's press on with our investigation.
What is the meaning of this? We were told that there would be no interference from the authorities.
Do I look like one of the authorities?
No, you look like an elf with more curiosity than sense. You will regret this, you know. Believe it or not, we've been given dispensation to do our business here. The humans talk a great deal about how very wrong slavery is. But isn't it funny how quickly the smell of gold overcomes such ideals?
I intend to shut you down even so.
And I intend to see you pay for the damage you've already done, in blood.
So we can, with some intimidation, convince her to leave. But that's not what I intend to do, because... Well, we get something of a reward for defeating her. So that's what we're gonna do. Unfortunately, we have to face off a lot of people here to start this off. And naturally, there's a lot of fucking traps, archers, and all that good stuff. And that deals with them, but Alistair once again has fallen. Oh my fucking god, this is ridiculous. There's so many more than I thought there were. Jesus fucking Christ, this is insane. Yeah, this is bullshit. Alright, so...
What is the meaning of this? We were told that there would be no interference from the authorities.
Yes, yes.
You will The humans talk a great deal about
So,
how very wrong slavery is.
With
Isn't it funny
enough...
how quickly the smell of gold overcomes such
With
ideas?
enough coercion, you can intimidate her to leave. The only problem is you don't get her bow if you do that. But I don't really use bows on any character. Liliana has a specific bow that we got from the Marjolaine side quest. And my main character mostly relies on melee weapons, so I'm not going to fuss over it. I would love to show you how to defeat her, but I've never really practiced it, and there are a shit ton more people than I thought there would be, so we are going to skip it instead.
I am no fool. I can see that you are capable. So be it. I will let Caladrius deal with you while I fetch the Regent's men. I suggest you leave while you still can.
I don't know why it's such a bitch to deal with all these people. But my god, the scatter shot is such a pain in the ass to deal with when there's 3 of those people shooting you all at once with it. Meanwhile, all the melee enemies just target your mages and obliterate them. Boy, it's annoying. So I believe that without the coercion check, we could still convince her to go away, but in that case, she would just show up later when it was in even less opportune time. With the intimidation that we just got away with. Basically, she goes away completely, so we don't have to deal with her at all. Yes, we were unable to get the bow as a reward, but as I said, I'm not that fussed about it. If you all can figure out a way to deal with that problem, by all means, describe it in the comments below, but I just can't be fussed. There are way too many fucking people. I cannot stand dealing with archers at this point in the game because they can just stun like a motherfucker. Even the most basic, ordinary crossbowmen can stun your entire party at once because there's no possible way to separate them enough to elude that dreaded scatter shot. Okay, there's a trap. And yeah, I know the scatter shot doesn't typically last long, but it does enough damage to be annoying. And it interrupts anything you're trying to do for a greater or lesser amount of time. Why don't you do that? You do that and whoever, and you just go, I don't know, pound sand for all I fucking care, because Alistair, you're fucking useless. You go down quicker than anybody else, despite having more constitution than anybody else. Because you are absolute fucking trash. Not to say that Alistair may not prove his use in the fight to come. But right now, he's upsetting me. Ah!
Let's get started.
Alrighty, well, where does this trail of espionage lead us?
I am Caladrius, and you, I assume, must be the Grey Warden I've heard so much about.
You've heard of me?
One can hardly get a word out of the Regent besides Warden these days. It's surpassed even gold in popularity.
Then you should know to be frightened of me.
Now, is this how we begin? With bluster? I was hoping for civility.
As civilized as slavery.
Business is business, my dear Warden. Even so, your point is made. You do frighten me, but you also intrigue me. I've heard that you're trying to erode Loghain's support. It must be a difficult task, yes, like washing away a mountain. Perhaps you could use some help.
Oh, this should be good.
Sarcasm is beneath us both, my dear Warden.
Oh, you overestimate me, brother.
There was always a limit to how long we were going to be able to operate here. We've paid for many of Loghain's troops, but once the lands meet is done, we become inconvenient. So, here is my offer. 100 sovereigns from you for a letter with the seal of the Terran of Loghain upon it, implicating him in all of this. Then, we leave a few days earlier than planned with our profits and remaining slaves unharmed.
'Tis a reasonable enough starting offer.
I feel dirty. We're not considering this, are we?
So, do we have a deal? Even you must admit it's much better than resorting to barbarism, yes?
No, considering I can just mop the floor with you and get everything I want without having to give you 100 fucking gold. I think, no deal. Time to die.
Pity. Looks as if we shall have to settle this the hard way, then. My apologies.
Oh, spare me. So yeah, this is the point where we would have to deal with that elf bitch from before. If, we chose to deal with that. If we did not deal with her by killing her or through intimidation. So let's get him out of the equation. So have everyone kind of spread out and deal with the bullshit on the stairwells here.
Victory shall be mine!
Morgan, don't be stupid. We're gonna pull some shit here. If you don't mind. And of course, we got stunned. 'Cause fuck archers. I wish I could keep up the things you had queued up when you know, your party gets stunned, because that's the most annoying part of all this. Alright, well, let's see if we can get Storm of the Century without losing our party here.
My weapon is
Oh, yeah. So let's have everybody kind of stand back for now. I guess take on those fools at range. Just help out Alistair here. But otherwise, just kind of stand back. I'll wipe all them fools out.
I shall do it.
Why do you have to get so close? God damn it all. Get out of there, you dumb woman. Get out of there, for Christ's sake. Oh my god, she cannot get up the stairs. Oh my fucking god, what is happening? Get up the fucking stairs. What is all this fire? Where did that come from? Oh, whatever. Just go ham on this fool. So, this guy, turns out, is a blood mage. And, wiping out his entire entourage, before focusing on him is a good idea, because otherwise he will start basically killing them off to, heal himself. But, well, we can deal with him.
Right.
It seems your reputation is an accurate one. I surrender.
Perhaps you should be left to the mercies of these elves.
Wait! Hear me out, dear lady. Were I to use the life force of the remaining slaves here, I could augment your physical health a great deal. Allow me to leave this place alive, and I would be more than happy to do this little service for you.
An interesting offer, if a tad messy.
Little service. He is talking of blood magic. Surely you would not consider such a thing.
Blood magic is one thing. Putting all these people to death, I think, is the more immediate concern. So, no, I wouldn't.
Most wise.
Then, I don't suppose you would consider just, letting me go?
No.
Ah. Well, that is a shame, isn't it?
For you, indeed. Time to go ham. Let's just give him everything we got.
Oh my God.
Ah, he's already stunned. That's hilarious. Yeah, kiss the dirt.
My little girl, I didn't think I'd see you again. When they said all the Grey Wardens died at Ostagar, I prayed they were wrong. Are you all right? What are you doing here?
I'm trying to stop the Regent.
The Regent? What have you got to do with him?
Well, he's trying to kill me.
Loghain Mactir? Are you serious? The man's a hero, a legend. This isn't a good place to talk. Come to the house. There's something I should give you.
If you say so. For now, I shall grab this. Documents authorize the removal of elves from Denerim's Alienage bear the seal of Terran Loghain Mactir. Ah, of course. Everybody's gotta leave a paper trail to incriminate themselves. Or else, how could we possibly solve this mystery?
On it.
Alright, bitches, fall in. Well, that's a lot of gold. Man, if they're profitable enough to keep that kind of gold, just hanging around, what do they need 100 sovereigns off me for? That dude's just kissing the mud. Got a Templar floating around here. We'll talk to him next episode so we don't start something before we can deal with it.
Cousin, you're amazing. Which I shouldn't say to your face because it'll go to your head, but it's true.
Why are you so
untextured?
untextured?
Aren't you? You'd better. I'll weasel a bottle of wine from Alarth and we can catch up.
How about you weasel up a decent outfit, seeing as yours can't decide what it's gonna be? What the fuck is going on? Well, get me 2 bottles, because I need to unsee everything I'm witnessing.
I'll hold you to that, cousin.
Yeah, please, make yourself decent. This, chameleon skin you got going on is a little disturbing. Well, let's go speak with old Dad.
Let me get a look at you. Maker, don't they feed you, Wardens? You're all skin and bones.
God, you sound like your grandmother. Everything where you left it?
I expected looters, but I'm not missing much. Here.
And you didn't have much to lose.
I should have given it to you before you left, but with all the trouble, I didn't get the chance. It belonged to your mother. I think you should have it now. I know you'll do great things. You already do.
Well, what'd you give us? Fang? Wow, that's garbage. Thanks, Mom.
Sit down and eat something. Don't they feed Grey Wardens? You're all...
Yeah, they feed us darkspawn blood. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I think that'll do for tonight. We have dealt with the Unrest and the Alienage, although there are a few things to mop up here before we move on. But until next time, don't forget to follow me on Twitch, subscribe to my Stream Archive channel, and if this gets up in time, also do not forget to tune in to Twitch on, we'll say 3 p.m. UTC on December 31st, New Year's Eve, where we will begin the Gothic 2 preliminary live streams for those who are following for that, which I imagine is most of you.
On it.
But if not, then simply hang tight. Tune in next time, where we will continue our efforts against Loghain's ownership over the Regency, over Denerim, over Ferelden in general. Depose him so we might apply Ferelden strongly against the Blight. But until then, have yourselves a wonderful night.